Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and in this video I am going to review Premier Just Cotton, and I don't know, I was wondering if I had any others. This is what I bought at the Dollar Tree, so I don't know if this is like a sub-brand. Do you know the fancy word for that? Like their cheap line, or if this is comparable to their other Premier cottons. This is in the colorway Burgundy, and again, 104 yards, 85% cotton, 15% polyester. It is a medium weight yarn. They recommend a US knitting needle 8 or a crochet hook 5 or 5.5. Machine wash, warm water, tumble dry, low heat. This cost $1. Now, I will say when I went to my Dollar Tree, and you'll see, you would have possibly a few days ago, I put out my quick little blurb. My Dollar Tree has just started to beef up their crafts section. It used to be they mostly had like a few glass items, glue, fake flowers, those crystal balls, you know, those little glass beads, a few stickers, regular beads, googly eyes, feathers, pipe cleaners, that kind of stuff. But just over the last year, they've started really bringing in more crafty items. Yarn. First, it was just the Premier regular acrylic. And then now there's the two different brands, or Premier Cotton, regular acrylic, and a different brand. And then also, as you'll see in that video that I released, I could put a link in the description below, they just started bringing in more tools, containers to hold your crafties, your beads, and all that. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to buy the other two brands of yarn that they have there, and I thought I would give a review. So I decided while watching Win Calls the Heart to knit. I just gotten that beautiful gift from Anne with a significant amount of knitting needles in it. So I said, oh, well, I'll just start knitting right away. I need to work on it. And so I used, even though they recommended 8, I used, wait, what did they recommend? 5 millimeters. I used a 3.5 millimeter because I felt like this was a very thin yarn. Now I know they're saying that this is a 4, but I feel like it is a DK. So there you go. That's my first thing. I don't believe it is a worsted weight yarn. In my personal humble opinion, it is a DK. I then knitted a swatch. And I'm going to tell you what, I am so, well, I say swatch, but it's going to be a dishcloth. You know, to wipe off the counters or whatever. Maybe wash dishes. I knitted on both rows, both sides, but this time I got a little fancy, you guys, and I knitted diagonally. So I started here, and this is something that I've never seen a video on. I just took the skills that I had in my mind from knitting a couple shawls, and I cast on 3 stitch, and on one side, and you'll see here that I put a stitch marker on one side. On this side, I would, on the knit front and back for the first stitch, so I would add a stitch, knit across, knit front and back on the last stitch. And then when I was knitting on this side, I just knit straight across. I didn't add any. And then when I got to the size that I wanted, on the side that had the stitch marker, I decreased. I knitted 2 together in the first 2 stitches, knit across, decreased by knitting 2 together, and that is what gave me the square or the diamond shape. And as you can see, my lines are going this way, not this way. I feel like a super genius, y'all. Not really. You're like, Summer, that's the most basic. But you know what? I'm just teaching myself. I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to get knitting to be a habit. But anyway, it's not about my knitting. It's about the yarn. So this is a really nice acrylic. Now, or a nice cotton. Most times I feel like it's a cotton acrylic. I don't really 100% honestly know the difference between polyester yarn and acrylic yarn. I think they're both obviously man-made fibers, and cotton is the real one, or, you know, is the natural fiber. But it's a nice stretchy. Now, it could be because I've knitted, but it is a really nice cotton. Now, you could even use this if you wanted to, like a face cloth. It's soft enough for that, I would. But I was just going to use it in the dish ones. And all in all, knitting with it was fine. I had no problems. I used metal needles. It slid off really nicely. It didn't get too caught up or stuck on the needle where I had to like push it to get it off. I will say the one downside to this yarn, whether I knit and then I did crochet with it, I just did a little crochet swatch, is that this yarn splits very easily. As you can see, this is 2 strands of yarn twisted together. Actually, I want to say it's actually 4, 2 white, 2 burgundy. And sometimes you'll get some areas where it's really tightly twisted, at like right there. And then some areas you'll get it where it's a little looser. And then it just happens that even with crocheting, I dropped it on the floor, of course, because it wouldn't be a video if I didn't drop something on the floor. Even with crocheting with the tulip hooks, the yarn tends to split. But I will say it's so busy that you can't really see where those little slipped loops are. Basically, one strand doesn't get caught up by the knitting needle and it kind of sits out. You know, it just doesn't get caught. Obviously, frog, get it back in there. This was just a quick swatch to see how it crocheted. It did crochet very smooth. I was using a tulip. I just did 3 rows of half double crochet. As you can see, it is a very busy pattern. This isn't variegated where you'll see different colors because it is mixed. The 2 colors are twisted together. I do believe in this size ball that I'm going to be able to get 3 dishcloths about this big. I have no idea how many stitches. I did not count them when, I started with 3 and I didn't stop to see what my half mark was. But you know, they're just, I suppose I could measure how big of a square these are. But this is about the size. I think I'll get about 3 of these out of this ball. But heads up, y'all, it's because I'm knitting. As many of you know, that when you crochet, crocheting uses up more yarn than knitting. I will say, even with the crochet, it is stretchy. It's not a super tight, coarse yarn. It's not an extremely soft cotton, but it's nowhere near like the Crafter's Secret generic brand Hobby Lobby has. It's not that coarse, but it's not beautifully soft like some of the other cottons that you would use to make baby items. I do not think that this is really, I feel personally, in my humble opinion, dishcloth yarn. The last thing I was going to say, which I think is also a plus about this yarn, is while crocheting with it, the color did not rub off on my finger. I have had that before, primarily with the Peaches and Cream or whatever brand that Walmart carries. That yarn has rubbed off on my fingers before, the color. And so then when I'm done, I have the color on my hand, but the dye does not come off on your hand while you're working with it. I will say this cotton, however, I just looked up here, I'm gonna grab it. This cotton is softer than the Lion brand Re-Up. This is a recycled cotton, and this is much coarser and stiffer. But like I said, it is not as soft as like the Yarn Bee cotton. This is a cotton that I would use to like make baby hats or baby sweaters. This I would not necessarily recommend. Like I said, it's mostly a dishcloth yarn. So that is really all I have to say about it. For $1, I mean, how many yards was it again? 100 yards for $1. I mean, it's a good deal. If you are interested in doing some kind of a charity project or, you know, and you know, I say this with all the love of my heart because, you know, I've been in these situations before. If you're a crafter and you just have the need to relax and sit and crochet, but you're on a really tight budget and you can't afford to go buy the fancy yarns or even the yarns that are $5 or $6 or $8, $10 a skein, this yarn is perfectly fine. Zip over to your Dollar Tree, buy yourself for $5, 5 skeins of cotton yarn, and make yourself a bunch of dishcloths. And then tie a ribbon around it because they have plenty of ribbon at the Dollar Tree. And now you have a nice handmade gift that you can give to someone. It's the thought that counts. It's the love in your heart that you're putting in your project. And I do think that it's nice to be able to have these $1 skeins of yarn out there. And I mean, yeah, it's really nice. There was only 2 colors of this variegated cotton at my Walmart. There was or at my Dollar Tree. There was this burgundy one, and I want to say maybe like a green one or a brown one. I can't remember exactly. If you watched a few videos back, you'll see in my Dollar Tree video. And the next, so I like it. Now, the one thing I want to find out about it is this very different from the Premier Cotton that I bought at Hirschner's? What is the difference? Is this like I said, a cheaper version? Is this their, like, I don't know how to say it, like their mill ends or their scrap yarn? Is this what, you know what I'm saying? Or is this the same yarn? They just put it in a smaller little thingy and sent it over to the Dollar Tree. Is the quality the same as the regular run Premier Cotton yarn? And that, I'm going to be honest, I don't use enough of Premier Cotton to know. I primarily use the yarn that you can get at Hobby Lobby, Joann's, and Michael's. The next yarn that I got from them that I will review, maybe it's what I'll work on next, I'll make myself a little baby hat with this, is the Crafter's Square acrylic yarn. I got myself a brown and an orange. So after I'm done knitting this last dishcloth, I will knit, you guys, maybe I will knit one baby hat and crochet another. There we go. I can't turn into an exclusive knitter. But like I was saying, I'm just trying to get more comfortable, more relaxed with knitting. And then, yeah, so that's my review. If you have a Dollar Tree and they have some yarn and you're on a budget and you want to make a bunch of stuff, and head on over. I would keep using this cotton. Now, they don't have a lot to choose from. Like I said, just the 2 colors. They do, my Hobby Lobby does also carry the Premier acrylic yarn and then the Crafter's yarn. And there they had an abundance of color, but they're all in like those 100 gram or those 100 yard skeins. It's nothing huge. So I do think if you were going to make a blanket, you would have to buy like 50 of them, and it's still like $50. So there's that. But if you're just wanting to make a few face cloths or dishcloths, or you know what else I like to make with cotton? I like to make these little needle cases. And this yarn would be perfect for this project too, where you crochet in the back loop and you have a little pocket and you can put your needles there and your notions. This crafter's yarn, this crafter's cotton would be perfect for a little thing like that, or a little pot holder. And if you just need, you know what it is, folks, is it's nice to buy the super expensive superwash merino and the wools and all that. And it's gorgeous to make hats and sweaters, but sometimes you just need crochet and knitting to calm yourself, for anxiety relief, for, you know, a little bit of relaxation. And if you're on a budget and you still need to have that relaxation time, hop on over to your Dollar Tree and grab yourself a $1 skein. Now, sadly, my Dollar Tree still is not carrying hooks. But, I mean, even those nice Hobby Lobby ones that I buy, like, that are like this. Let's see if I have one off the top of my head. Yeah, here. These ones, they're like $2.98. That's not horrible. Okay, you guys, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for liking and sharing my videos. And in the next yarn review, it'll be Crafter's Square acrylic yarn. Bye!